Hey, what's up? I'm Kurt Bob. Thanks for watching. Hey, this is my absolutely disgusting garage, but before too long, this is going to be nice and decently cleaned up, and it's going to be a tool shop and a place to park our cars at night, and maybe hang out if we're hanging out with a bunch of people that are smoking cigarettes, and it's cold outside and we don't want to hang out outside. So, because we do have a decent little garage heater in there. It's insulated and it's already covered with aux board. Just to remind you, I am a tenant, not a homeowner, so I won't be doing any big modifications or anything. I'm just cleaning up all this clutter and junk. It's 50% mine, 50% a former tenant that just abandoned all of it. So, you know, it's half our fault for being too passive. No big deal though. So I just got rid of it. So first I go to Habitat for Humanity, which is just our local donation place, kind of like Salvation Army or Goodwill, whatever. But I like their cause and I volunteered for them before. So I'd go to them first, and then you saw the garage shut and reopen. That was me going and coming back. Now I'm going to the dump. You see the mattress and the junk and the trash and the recliner that Habitat for Humanity turned down, and the other junk that Habitat turned down. That's why I went to Habitat first. So I knew they wouldn't take the mattress, so I didn't even try. I knew they wouldn't take that extra stuff. I'm at the dump. The dump was fun. I mean, I know it's just a huge pile of trash and a huge building, but how often do you see that? How often do you get to just kind of throw stuff and break glass and just on the concrete ground? You just back up to a slab of concrete and just so my main thing when you're organizing a big space, get rid of stuff first. Big stuff that you know you're going to get rid of, get it out of your way, even if it's throwing it in the yard. You know, I mean, don't kill your grass, but you know what I'm saying. Get it out of your way physically, and then separate things into different piles of keepers, piles of trash or donate piles, and then categories of keepers. My categories were like electronic stuff, tools, camping stuff, and then stuff that I wanted to immediately take inside the house, and then just general other junk. So, and that worked out really good. Then I had, of course, my donation and trash piles, and trash piles still grew after the dump. But I had that big stuff out of the way, so I'm able to move and work and breathe and keep chipping away at this other stuff. And so once you have your piles and once you have your junk out of the way, oh my gosh. Anyways, once you're down to just your keeper piles and you're down to your junk piles, you obviously get rid of your junk piles and then start finding permanent homes for everything. Because if it doesn't have a permanent home, it's going to be clutter eventually. It's just going to eventually end up sitting out somewhere. So make it a permanent home somewhere. If not, do you really need it every day? If you need it every day, why doesn't it have a permanent home? Put a nail in the wall and hang it up there. Give it a permanent home. Put a label on a drawer and make that its permanent home. If it has one, then if it's in its home, it's fine. If it's not in its permanent home, if it doesn't have a home, it's a lost object to me. That's kind of how I think when I think organization. It's probably a little psycho, and you can thank my mother, Kathy Jo. So anyhow, now that I've got some space, I can breathe, I start building. I just want to have some fun. I wanted to smell some cut wood. I wanted to have a nice work surface. Now that once you have your keeper piles and you start assigning permanent homes, you're assigning permanent homes for big stuff first. That way, because that's physically taking the most space. That's the most demanding of space. It's usually going to dictate what's happening. Either your decorations and your focal point of the room, if it's a pretty space, or in this case, it's a utility space. I just want it to function, so I don't really care what it looks like. So once you got your big stuff kind of where you want it, then start filling in your small stuff and start making small homes and kind of making boxes and collecting. I don't know, there's just different ways, different types of stuff requires different type of organization. So my tools, I'm going to hang up a lot of my tools on the wall. I'm going to get a lot of little organizers. I'm going to get some little drawer units for screws and stuff because I want all my sizes separate. I don't want to have to go through a pile of randoms to get what I want. I want to know what I'm out of and what I have in stock. So anyhow, this little workbench worked out good. I just kind of measured the one at work, added a few inches to the width because I thought, this could be 3 inches wider. I added a few inches to the top, or height wise, and then I subtracted off the thickness of the wheels, subtracted off the thickness I wanted for the flare out, which was the width of a 2x4 on each side, and then just drew it out. Pretty simple. So here comes my dad pretty soon. I forgot. There was these cabinets left in the garage and I didn't get rid of them. I wanted to keep them. I just hung them up to where I cannot hit my head on them. No matter how close I stand with the door open, I cannot hit my head on them. That's what I wanted. So even if I'm almost on my tiptoes or if I'm kind of walking and taking an up step, I cannot hit my head on them. I know that's a random height, but that's what I wanted. And most of the time I'm going to have my workbench under there, but I want it on wheels for big projects so I can roll it out into the middle of the garage there. So I start hanging up my clamps and some of my wrenches there. That black thing with the metal in it's all my wrenches. And then here comes my dad finally. I told you he was coming. That saw on the bottom right of the screen there is called a compound miter saw, and I want to build a table for it. You see how it's about 3 inches thick where the wood sits on it? So if you're cutting a long board, if you're holding one end and then you cut it with your other hand, the other end just falls right off because it's only a foot wide there, you know? So I'm going to build a 4-foot table on either side and then bridge that table with, you'll see what I'm talking about by bridge, but make a little miniature table in between it that's the little bit shorter for that saw to sit down in. So when you put a piece of wood up to it, that table holds the wood for you versus that saw itself sitting up 4 inches tall but only a foot wide and not being able to really hold your work there. See how that table, I wish I had a pointer. Anyhow, you'll see what I'm talking about. Big shout out to my dad, by the way. It's really fun hanging out and we got a lot done. I really appreciate you coming by. He just called me out of the blue on Thursday, which is my Friday, and he's like, hey, the wife and the kid are out of town shopping for colleges. I'm coming by, if that's fine. I was like, yeah, come by, I'm doing work. So I had a design in my head and he had some decent ideas, but man, I was pretty stuck on what I had designed in my head. I changed a few things because he did have some insight on my build, but he wanted to hinge it off the wall and stuff, and ultimately I wanted a little more mobile, and so it worked out good. If you can't quite tell, but the height of that saw table and the height of the workbench are the exact same. That way, if I'm cutting a super long board and it sticks out over the saw table, if it makes it all the way over to that other table, that will support it as well. And I also measure the distance from the wall to the blade. I can cut over a 10-foot piece, so I don't think I'll have to cut anything longer than 10 foot. So right now I've kind of dumped out some of my keeper piles, which is like screws, bits, and randoms, and I was just kind of going through it, throwing stuff away, putting stuff in keeper piles, separating the screws from the nails, separating sizes. Now I'm taking stuff up to the attic, camping stuff, old coolers, stuff that I'm keeping but that I don't really have everyday use for, some sentimental junk, some old clothes that I got rid of a lot of Salvation Army clothes, but some stuff was too sentimental And in my skinny clothes, with the fantasy I ever lose weight again, I'll have a full wardrobe of decent clothes. This little side room here, it's where the mower's stored and everything. I just wanted to clean it out first and sweep the floor and, you know, just start fresh in there. And when I did, I realized, hey, this is actually a better spot for the bikes. So I get the ladder out and move the hooks over and put the bikes up. And they see it. You see how they fit behind the door, and the door's still able to open more than 90 degrees. And as with the mower there, I pictured these shelves in the corner. So I just kind of drew the picture in my mind and just kind of measured. I just kind of held my hand where I thought the shelf should end and measured to that, and then just rounded it off to the nearest square number and made a little drawing of what the shelf should be, and that was that. I also found those simple metal shelf brackets as I was cleaning the garage too, so there's a plus. Those were free. And so as I'm cleaning there, I kind of throw all the small clutter stuff on top of those surfaces so I'm not hurting my back, and then go through them later. That way, so I'm kind of cleaning out I do that when I'm cleaning my room in my apartment. I throw anything that doesn't have a permanent home or needs to be gone through, I toss it on my bed and then tackle it, and then toss another load from other places on my bed and then tackle it. So I'm kind of doing the same with this work surface, this workbench in the garage here. As I clean things out, I toss them all up on the saw table on the workbench, and then as I need to use the workbench, I'm forced to put things in their permanent home, finally throw them away, or make a permanent home for them, etc. So now that I'm just kind of getting to where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. There was a quick peek at Aaron Smith, AA. What's up, Aaron? So yeah, so I'm throwing that trash away. I have a trash pile as I had swept into a pile for a while. I'm just ready to start making some final decisions, finding a place to put the scrap wood. I wanted to this desk. Definitely would not recommend sitting on one of those desks or putting a heavy laptop on it or resting your elbow on it or anything. But anyways, yeah, I'm just getting down to the nitty gritty. You see the surface there has got a lot of clutter on it. And even since this video, I've gotten some little miniature organizing tubs and a little thing of drawers. I'll give you an update in a couple weeks. But yeah, just doing the final sweep, finding final homes for stuff. You know, hanging up stuff that you don't think you use too much. But I got a nice work area. I got a nice place for my saw. Got a nice little place for my DJ gear. I got to tarp it or something so it's not getting dusty, because I do generate a lot of sawdust. I do need to get a little air filter. Do need to get a dust collection system. But in general, I'm rocking and rolling. That garage went from just a huge clutter pile you couldn't even pull your car into, to a full working wood shop that fits 2 cars in the winter and already had a decent heater in it. It's got insulation and aux board. I mean, I hate to brag, but I'm renting, so it's not mine. But man, I'm proud. Look at this place. Look at this place. Look, I get a couch, got a cool bar light. My friend Jeff's about to come over and hang out.
Have you shown Tyler yet?
Yeah, shut up, Jeff.
Oh my god, he's gonna lit.
Okay, perfect. I can just set this program. Vacuum.
AUX mode.
So, question: are you proud of me? Was that cool? You know, does that inspire you to maybe tackle a space? Hang out with me more. Thanks for watching.